I think I missed San Francisco rain for the first time in my life ever watching the Blue Umbrella.
It did rain yesterday.
Did it?
So
over there?
or something like this.
Okay, and no, but it also made me aware of how transient it feels to live in a city like San Francisco. It's not like Austin where strangers just smile and talk to each other. That's mind-boggling to me. So, how did you come up with the idea of Blue Umbrella, and why did you want to tell the story?
Well, I think the core of the idea came from actually one of those rare rainy days in San Francisco. I feel like it happens really rarely. I mean, San Franciscans disagree with me. They call the winter the rainy season, but I grew up in Hamburg in Germany where 80% of the year it's overcast. So that is my norm. And every time it rained in San Francisco, it felt like home, and I really liked the rain. And it was one of those rare rainy days when I was walking through the city and I looked down and I saw a broken umbrella in the gutter, and someone had just, I don't know, tossed it away, and it was completely broken and half drenched, and it just looked so sad. It was like, I stood there, it was the saddest thing in the world. It was just, this is such a poor thing. And that picture just stayed with me. That was kind of like, what happened to him? Maybe there's some way to give him a happy end and not leaving him in the gutter. Maybe just felt bad of leaving him in the gutter and not picking him up. Mm-hmm. And that kind of stuck with me for a long time, and that merged with me starting to love the rain more and more, and cities in the rain, and really liking cities in the rain, especially when you sit inside and you look out. And I think it's beautiful at night when the neon lights goes on and all the reflections. It's a very lush thing, and so I wanted the short to be a love story to the rain, or a love declaration to the rain. And that's why it became a love story between two characters, because that's the perfect fit. And I think then there was just a lot of writing, and then that was the story. I literally found it on the street.
Okay, that's great. And it's playing before Monsters University. When Pixar opening in June. So when Pixar pairs shorts with features, is there any correlation between, like, through theme, or how does that process go?
Yeah, there's usually not. There's never actually been a correlation between the short and the feature. For us, it's about telling stories, and those two things are sort of independent of each other.
And then, yeah, whatever short film is finished at the right time gets paired up with a feature, and that's how they end up together. I hope people make up their own correlations.
Yeah.
Because there always are. There always is some feeling of it. But
yeah.
The nice thing is it's in the people's imagination, because we just, that shot is finished, that feature is finished.
We can make it up.
Let's put them together.
It's the magical world of monsters against the photoreal world of the
And it kind of works. Like the monsters world is a city and the buildings, but they're stylized in a monster kind of way, and we have it in a different way.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's also because Pixar just seems to have an overarching theme of, like, some intimacy and nostalgia that's in every one of your works. Okay, so this question is for either one of you guys. I went to this interesting conference yesterday by MIT researchers. I'm not sure if I agree with everything they were saying, but they were talking about the future of interactive media and how storytelling will be more interactive in the future. So, for example, if you're Skyping with your kid and you're telling a story, then you could adjust the lighting, the temperature, the sound effects, and eventually 3D objects to tell your story, and it changes as the story progresses. And Dan Novy, one of the speakers, called cinema a passive experience, and we're maxed out technologically. Do you guys agree with this? And if so, do you think the future of animation can be interactive?
I think those are two very different ways of telling stories. I think there is an amazing thing in the audience being passive. I think I enjoy someone guiding me through a story, and it's the directors and the whole crew's personal view on how they want to tell this story. If I have a game or if I have something interactive and I come in as a person, it's less guided. I can explore it. The thing that fascinates me with movies is I want to see that director's view of that story. I want to see that actor's take on that character. So I want them to tell it to me their way, and I don't want to be included in it. But I don't think it's one or the other. It's just two different mediums with different strengths and different weaknesses.
I would agree. I think that animation can be anything, right? We just talked about the world of monsters versus the world of the Blue Umbrella. Those two worlds are incredibly different, and because animation is so it's so flexible, I think that there will be times and places for animation to play a role in telling stories in that way. I think in the theme parks, for example, animation is used in a very different way than it is in the movie theater.
And I mean, even a book to a certain extent, no one would say books are extinct because they're not visual enough and movies took over. Actively reading a book is a very different experience than passively watching a movie. So there's no one or the other. I think the interesting thing about interactive is that it's still developing so much. Films, to a certain extent, not that there's still experimentation, but they have reached a certain level where the how much they improve is in smaller steps, while in interactive it's still kind of wide open. And I think that's why interactive is fascinating in its own way.
I agree. Okay, and besides attending your screenings, what have been your highlights of the week at South by?
Highlights of the week? They're all over the place, apart from the craziness. There's two movies I adored. One was, I was lucky enough to see Short Term 12, actually the first day we were here, the one that won South by Southwest, which was amazing. And the second one was Euphoria, from actually an animator who did a 50-minute feature, live action. And again, it was his view of how he sees the world and how his main character sees the world, and that was so fascinating to watch and be kind of completely engulfed in. And then I had a crazy food experience where a guy here from Austin recommended me to go to Holy Cow and order a sandwich that is not on the menu, that is called a trashy bat. And it looked like a trashy bat, but it was amazingly good.
What is in the trashy bat?
It's meat, mushrooms, I mean normal mushrooms, onions, I don't know what was in there, but it was really, really good.
And you, Mark?
I love Much Ado About Nothing this morning. I got a chance to see a feature. I love that totally different take on Shakespeare that you just don't get, or I haven't gotten before. I loved seeing the Blue Umbrella with an audience. I loved hearing the gasps and the laughs and just to hear it. And we sat in the very, very back of the screening, and we could see everyone what their heads are doing and how they're reacting to the film. And I just love that, and I think Austin's been a lot of fun.